Player of the Year, Speedy Smith. He leads the country in assists dished out.
They won the outright CUSA title that brought him to the NIT. Meanwhile, Texas A&M seemed big dance bound until March rolled around and the wheels came off a very solid team.
Did not finish well because they were without all SEC player Daniel House.
House, once again, out tonight with a foot injury. He usually gives them 15 points a game. Here's a look at the starting lineups. 3 key seniors for Louisiana Tech has led them to 3 consecutive regular season conference championships from the WAC through CUSA. Smith, Appleby, and Kaiser inside. And for Texas A&M, another great assist man. Alex Caruso will be running the point tonight, and he better be pretty good at it because Louisiana Tech wants to press and turn you over. They're one of the best teams in the country at doing that. They score 73 points a game and like to get up and down the floor. It's an early start here in Aggieland with a 6 o'clock local time tip, and the kids just back from spring break. They'll continue to fill in the building around us. Louisiana Tech coming off of a home shootout against Central Michigan. They put up 89 points in the win against Keno Davis's Chippewas. Had a great night shooting from behind the arc. This is Hamilton, and he couldn't get around Allen, who commits his first personal foul. Head coach for Louisiana Tech, Michael White. He has done a tremendous job. 100 wins already in 4 seasons. Just the 11th head coach in NCAA history to do that. But he and his team were heartbroken with the Conference USA semifinal loss to UAB, which kept him out of the NCAA tournament. They go inside. And Kaiser is there at 6'10". They don't figure to get a lot of looks inside.
Well, it's important for Louisiana Tech to play solid in the half court and get some buckets so they can get this pressure set in the full court.
The A&M coaches have prepared for this game like they would for Arkansas in the SEC. This is Green inside with the left. Arkansas, as you well know, likes to push and turn you over. But these guys shoot a lot quicker than the Hogs do. And the loose ball rebound will go out of bounds and to the Aggies. So this Louisiana Tech tempo under Michael White will give us a good feeling of where they stand early in this game. Once you got that program rolling, boy, they've been tough to stop.
Michael White, one of the outstanding young head coaches in all of college basketball, on a lot of AD short list from the BCS leagues.
Well, now's the time, right? That carousel's starting to spin. Robertson on the glass. That's one shortcoming for La Tech, and it's a big one. Billy Kennedy knows his team will have an advantage inside tonight. First 20-win season as A&M's head coach, the 5th of his career, which has roots in Louisiana. 6 years at Southeastern Louisiana, where he met his lovely wife, Mary Etheridge, and his daughter, Lexi, are both La Tech grads.
Billy Kennedy has done an outstanding job with this Texas A&M program, just short of the NCAA tournament this year. Really, in large part, because they lost Daniel House. He goes down with an injury. They lose their season finale against Alabama, and then their opening game in the SEC tournament against Auburn.
Robertson from Arcadia, Louisiana. His dad was a star at La Tech. His dad, Victor King. His dad's been putting up with and providing some trash talk this week back home.
La Tech wants to penetrate the basketball. They're going to have to make sure they do just that. Get some reversal and attack off the bounce. Look for some back cuts and get in gaps off the dribble, off of ball movement. A&M's going to stay in gap defense all night in the half court.
They had a chance to set up their press, but nothing to show for it just yet. Jordan Green gave it up to Jones. His shot was in and out. So here comes Alex Hamilton. Hamilton trying to break down Caruso. And Caruso whistled for the foul, his first.
La Tech executing in the half court, which you're going to have to do. They're going to get some movement across. When that happens, you're going to see a back cut on the left side of your screen. Caruso gets caught watching the ball. Back cut, hits him.
On the other side, though, the Bulldogs turn it over on the baseline inbounds. A&M with the steal. Here's Green with the no-look. And Robertson got a little happy.
One of the things that you're looking to do if you press like La Tech is not just create turnovers that are steals, but create turnovers because you speed the other team up. Robertson in a hurry that time, shuffled his feet.
You might have to go back to a New York Yankees batting order in the 1930s to find starters out there in numerical order. 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 for Louisiana Tech on their jerseys tonight. Here's Alex Hamilton, the lefty. By the way, they got 4 southpaws on this team, too. Another loose ball out of bounds to Texas A&M. Where do we stand here tempo-wise? Even though we're only 2.5 minutes into it, what do we make of it?
Well, I think so far it's favoring La Tech, the ability to get up and down the floor. They're shooting the basketball quick. They've already forced a turnover with their pressure, and even on a quick shot like that goes out of bounds, Tom, it gives them an opportunity to set their full court pressure and try to speed this game up.
They average 8.5 steals per game, best in Conference USA. They won Conference USA outright this season. It's their first outright title since '99 in any league. Great rebound inside by Raheem Appleby, 6'4". He's a slight build. One of the reasons when Michael White took the job, he wanted to run. He said the personnel was there to do that, and maybe not much else. Kaiser inside. He's got 4 early, and La Tech has a 6-1 lead.
And watch La Tech's pressure on the basketball. Texas A&M will not bring it up easily. They're going to have to withstand pressure all the way down to the baseline until it comes back out.
Caruso slips in for his first bucket. The junior from right here in College Station is on the board.
Good cut by Caruso, strong to the rim.
Speedy Smith leads the nation in assists. Looks for another one. Nope. Cost him with a missed layup. He averages 7.5 per game on a team that only shoots 44% from the floor. Jalen Jones inside and draws the foul on Kedar Davis, who just checked into the game.
Outstanding pressure for La Tech early on in this game. They're going to pick you up full court. Look, got 2 guys in the trap, pressure on the basketball, and they're not going to let up. Caruso dribbles up the sideline, another trap. Appleby's chasing the dribbler, and it forces a quick shot. So it's not always if you force a turnover, Tom. They're trying to speed the other team up into quick, uncomfortable shots.
Jalen Jones hits the first and earns the second. By the way, we do have experimental rules in place tonight and throughout the NIT. One of those, as you see on your score bug, is a 30-second shot clock. Michael White says, I'd rather have a 12-second shot clock, honestly. It probably shouldn't be an issue for Louisiana Tech. We also have a wider arc in the lane for block charges. And quite frankly, both coaches said we haven't seen much of an impact on it just yet. So 5 seconds shaved off the shot clock and a 4-foot arc instead of 3 feet. Tough shot inside from Davis. Louisiana Tech gets out-rebounded nearly every game, all but 6 this season, yet they're holding their own tonight. There's a jam and the power inside from Courtney Robertson.
And that's exactly what you have to do if you're Texas A&M. Get on the offensive glass after the quick shots against La Tech's pressure.
Ball ripped down by Jalen Jones. Now Caruso. Figure he would like this pace. He's a great assist man. He loves to be on the open floor. Jones has it rejected. Merle Holden, the sophomore from Chicago, sent that one into the crowd. Getting above the rim here early.
Texas A&M attacking.
Louisiana Tech leads Texas A&M. Tom Hart alongside Darren Horn. You know, you've put together some ideas here. Everybody wants to know how to advance in a postseason tournament, whether it's this one or the NCAA tournament. What are your secrets?
Well, it's not just about having a good team, Tom. You got to have some things go your way. You got to put together an anatomy of a run in a tournament setting. First, your stars must shine. Your best players have to play well or you have no chance. Secondly, you got to receive the unexpected boost. That guy that's averaging 7 or 8 has got to come away with 15 one night. You got to be able to get a big stop late when it counts, and you need to stop to win. And then lastly, you got to survive a close game. I don't care how good you are. You're going to have a nail biter. You got to find a way to win one maybe you weren't supposed to win on the stat sheet.
Well, this is a guy Michael White has found himself in the NIT for 3 consecutive seasons now. They're coming off the win against Central Michigan. Billy Kennedy thought his team was going to the NCAA tournament. Both of these programs had to deal with heartbreak in falling short of their ultimate goal, which was the NCAA tournament. But now they're 2 wins away from New York City and Madison Square Garden. The jump hook outside the lane ends up in Green's hands, and his putback takes a victory lap. He'll go to the line. And I thought Michael White had a great comment when we asked him what this tournament means. He said it's simple. When you ask guys, it's going to come down to who wants to prolong their season.
And based on the play of both these teams early, they're both playing like they want the season to last. You know, if they win this one, it only takes one more to get to Madison Square Garden.
3-point play for Jordan Green. A&M leads by a deuce. Speedy Smith, a senior from St. Petersburg, Florida, the Conference USA Player of the Year. Like his senior classmates, nobody wanted these guys. Only Division I offer for Smith came from La Tech. Robertson leading the break, has it tapped away. Appleby up front. Eric McCree.
That's still a direct result of a pressing mentality. The ball's out in transition. La Tech's going to back tip from behind.
Smith gives it up. This is Appleby. And La Tech continues to struggle from deep. They're 0 for 4 from 3. 9-2 A&M run, make it 11-2 on the Robinson layup.
A big-time drop-off pass by Jordan Green. He froze the defense first and allowed the passing angle for the easy lay-in.
The looks early on for La Tech came inside on a lot of back cuts. That seems to have disappeared for the Bulldogs.
Right now they're settling for jump shots. They got to get more slips like that one right there. That's what they did the first couple minutes. They go back to it, and Kaiser's able to get the bucket.
Kaiser's 3 for 4 from the floor, back to a 2-point game. What a contrast in styles we have tonight. Texas A&M, a great defensive team. They usually don't move at a tempo like this, but with the shot clock dictating it, that might change. 2 guys had possession of it. That's a travel. And it will go back to Texas A&M.
Well, you look in the eyes of these players, and they're all ready to play. You can see the emotion in their faces. It's tournament time, and they're definitely ready to play and want to stay alive in March.
Coach, it was so obvious. It doesn't matter what I know. It's the same team. It doesn't matter.
By the rule book, you can't have simultaneous possession with your own team. That's a travel. Robinson trying to get creative with it. And inside, Jalen Jones with a bucket. He's got 4, a 13-4 run. And you can hear the officials explaining Michael White. Coach, it was so obvious. Can't have 2 guys holding it at the same time. Rarely see that call in college basketball or at any level. Robinson wants to screen. Nick Caruso on the floor at the same time. Only 2 point guards out there for A&M.
And this is more of what Texas A&M wants. If we can't get a quick one against this pressure, feed Jalen Jones. He's a matchup problem every single night, no matter who Texas A&M plays. He's really important with Daniel House out. Had 25 in their opener.
Texas A&M came back ready to play tonight, leading by 6.
He had his back turned. That's a tough pass. You got to hit it right on the meaty part of the backside so it comes right back to you.
There's an art to it, but not a lot of guys walk around with a bullseye.
If that had been a skinny player, Tom, it might not have worked.
Penetration, dish, jumper, good. That's Alex Hamilton with his first 3. Here's the other play you don't see very often. 2 guys from the same team possessing the ball at the same time. On 1 foot moves, that's a walk. Much to the dismay of the Texans. Look at that layup. But Texas A&M not afraid to get up and down the floor. That's Jordan Green down with 5.
And the key for Texas A&M is they got the basketball to the middle of the floor. That's what you want to do when you're beating pressure.
Hamilton will tee it up. Look at this tip. Jacoby Boykin just got a fingertip on it, and then a travel. And this is what Louisiana Tech can do to you. They're sending waves to the glass, and then they're getting some turnovers.
Texas A&M getting the basketball to the middle of the floor against this La Tech pressure. That's what you want to do. Then the defense has to make a decision. Nobody stepped up and stopped Jordan Green. He got all the way to the rack.
Michael White is following through with his promise that he gave us today, and probably his team. He's going to play a lot more guys early on than I have this season. He doesn't use his bench very often, one of the least used benches in all of college basketball. But he said primarily that's because in the non-conference, those are must-win games for us. I can't develop guys and rest guys. I got to play my starters and my key guys as many minutes as I can.
That's one of the big challenges if you're at a school like La Tech. That non-conference is so important, Tom, for your resume for the NCAA tournament. They're playing to win those games. No time to play freshmen that aren't ready.
Kaiser has 8. He's tick below his season average, and we're only 9 minutes into the game. The gamble for the steal. Green trying to take advantage. Another rebound for the Ags, and a bump. There'll be another whistle on Louisiana Tech. It's the first on Kaiser. When we return, we'll go over the resume of this year's Bulldogs, why they are here and not in the NCAA tournament.
Tuesday, we have reclaimed.
So 1 win against UAB, but 2 losses to the Blazers. They also lost to North Carolina State. This is a team that had a chance to beat Temple on the road, second game of the season. They went to Syracuse. Rakeem Christmas won that one late in the game for Syracuse. So some missed opportunities for Tech. Same thing for Texas A&M, but in a major conference, they had way more opportunities. Beat LSU both home and on the road, but they faltered late. They've lost 3 of their last 4, and out-of-conference losses to Dayton and Baylor didn't help the resume.
And I think ultimately the lack of quality wins more than those losses is what hurt them. Just enough, not enough to get them in when you start comparing to other teams on the bubble. And without Daniel House, they lost to Alabama in the season finale, lost in the conference tournament. That was all she wrote.
5-second violation on Texas A&M. That's another turnover for the Aggies. They're 4th already. They average 12 a game.
Nothing more frustrating as a coach, Tom, than to come out of a timeout and not even inbounds the basketball. Poor execution by Texas A&M. Texas A&M switching defense. They're showing a little zone, trying to slow down this La Tech offense.
Bernard Davis nearly walked with it. He did walk with it, so a Louisiana Tech turnover. The Women's Basketball Championship continues tonight on ESPN2. Every team is on a mission to take home the title, and a march to glory requires a magical 6-game streak. Who will cut down the nets in Tampa? The NCAA Women's Basketball Championship, presented by Capital One, tonight at 9 p.m. on ESPN2.
How about the job Jeff Walls has done at Louisville? Had Louisville in the national championship a few years, lost Shawnee Chimble, who was a terrific player and is right back in the thick of things.
Peyton Allen back on the floor for A&M. He's a great spot-up shooter. Hadn't gotten a look yet tonight. And they throw it away. Turnover number 5. There's a team that presses you full court, force you into mistakes like that in the half court.
There's no question, because you're just a little bit out of rhythm, especially Alex Robinson, who's a freshman, and having to adjust to this kind of pressure that you don't see night in and night out. It just takes you a little bit out of your flow, and that's where you see an errant pass sometimes. It really wasn't the pressure. It was more so the player just dealing with the rhythm of the game.
And remember, these teams dealing with a 30-second shot clock for just the second time. Louisiana Tech not only didn't practice it with it, they really didn't even address it. Michael White said he had heartbreak to deal with, other things to worry about besides a shot clock.
When he told his players they were dropping it 5 seconds, they said there's a shot clock?
I've never heard of such a thing. The tie-up and the possession arrow belongs to Texas A&M. Here's the difference thus far in early games in the NIT, and then it'll be used in all 31 games in the NIT. And the numbers compared to what the rules were 2 years ago when the block charge rule was the same as it is now. We're not seeing a big difference, and we may not see a big difference, but I think coaches already have in mind what they want when the Rules Committee will meet.
A slight increase, but as you say, not significant. I think the bigger thing that impacts the flow of the game and number of possessions is not the time on the shot clock, but the freedom of movement that we saw last year that they've gotten away from this year. The game's gotten back to being very physical.
Caruso threw one up with 8 on the shot clock. Look at this lob. Out of the building goes Alex Hamilton. Dropping in on Aguilan from way out.
And the reason Alex Hamilton runs so hard is he knows that Speedy Smith is going to find him. Speedy Smith had his head up from the minute he got the basketball, waiting for Hamilton to get out in front of the defense.
And they made it a 1-point game. Nice slip. And Miller draws the foul from Dayon Griffin, his first.
Speedy Smith, keep an eye on him. He gets the basketball in the outlet. He has his head up the entire way. He's just waiting for Hamilton to get behind the defense and rise above it. Big fellas will run the floor if they know the ball is going to get delivered to them when they can do something with it. Nobody better in the country than Speedy Smith.
These guys, Smith, Hamilton, Appleby, they've been playing together for years. Smith, the best assist man in college basketball over the last 2 years, averaging 7.5 this year, 254 coming in to lead the nation.
You know, Speedy Smith is a consistent three-point shot away from being a legitimate NBA player. Still getting some looks from the next level. May end up there one day. He's got good size, he defends, and he really makes his teammates better.
Caruso, good D in the corner on Hamilton. Caruso got his hands on it. They still got a shot off. Great contingent from Ruston has made the trip over. On a 5-hour drive. Just in time to see Alex Robinson get another bucket. He had a career-high 15 Tuesday against Montana.
Such as the play of a freshman. Sails one out of bounds a few possessions ago and then makes a nice move all the way to the rim. This young man's got good talent. A&M staff is high on him.
We got a shoe throw already. Tavario Miller out there with stocking feet on his right foot. Caruso picked up the Adidas and just chucked it back towards the basket. Miller playing defense with one shoe on. Oh, and he almost had the rebound after all that. Get Miller the ball. Here's Caruso, no. Tavario Miller's getting up and down the floor with one shoe on. And we'll get a timeout to get Miller's size 14 back. I've never seen a guy go so many possessions with only one shoe.
Yeah, he played a whole defensive possession in the half play. Well, A&M off the big rebounding edge early in large part because La Tech is so spread out and they're settling for jump shots. That allows the third leading rebounding team in the SEC to stay compact in the paint, clean up the glass, and get out and pick up some easy ones. And even though this pace favors La Tech early on in this game, Texas A&M holding on to a 4-point lead early because they're doing such a good job on the glass.
+6 is A&M over Louisiana Tech, a team that is 13th in Conference USA, -4 on the glass. Doing a great job in the paint thus far in the NIT. And against Montana, it was the third straight game with Texas A&M let a double-digit lead slip away. Another lob. Oh my goodness! Xavier Stapleton. Boy, Speedy Smith can find his guys.
I don't know how many times Michael Wright runs that play, but it should be a staple in his playbook for Stapleton. Out of the timeout. Look at Speedy Smith. Always has his head up. Seal on the block. Stapleton just gets in behind the defense.
Jordan Green commits the foul, his first. Stapleton makes it a 3-point play.
One of the things La Tech does is change up their pressure, where they pick up and their looks. That time about three-quarter court, 2-2-1.
Blocked by Kaiser. Best shot blocker in Conference USA. Transition 3, Stapleton, no. The only thing that's holding back La Tech tonight, they are 1 of 11 from deep. Robertson taking his time. Slips through.
Good execution by Texas A&M. Game getting a little bit out of hand for him in terms of the flow. Let's slow it down, get it inside to the big fella Robertson for the basket.
Let's try another one from deep. Another miss. Rebound by Dylan Johns just into the game. Shot clock at 8. Robinson was open. Couldn't hit it. Speedy will push it. And here comes A&M the opposite way. No numbers. No matter. Easy give to Caruso.
Nice find by Robinson to his teammate Caruso. This young man's really developed. Can create in the open floor. We just saw a good example of it.
With a foul inside will go against Texas A&M and Johns. But so far, Louisiana Tech, 8 assists on 10 baskets tonight. It's in large part their senior point guard, Speedy Smith. Men's ice hockey skates towards the Frozen Four in Boston. Regional semifinals begin. CAA championships. Quick look. Davis got whistled for a push-off. Kedar Davis in his second. We apologize for the technical difficulties. The process of rectifying those, or attempting to. Right now, Michael White trying to rectify the whistles he can't agree with thus far. The junior. Davis will be replaced. Robertson, drive, he got rejected again, but stuck with it. Courtney Robertson was set. He should have a field day in this game.
The second effort by Robertson. He can get it done around the basket on the glass.
Frantic pace for Louisiana Tech, just like they like it. Davis hits. Davis had started to leave the game. He stayed in. And it pays off. He's playing with 2 fouls, and it's just the second make in 13 deep attempts for the Bulldogs. And La Tech with another steal. It's Appleby this time. It's just me. Every time Speedy Smith comes up the floor, I expect somebody to run the baseline and throw down a lot.
You expect an assist to happen. So good at keeping his head up and finding his teammates.
Shoot it all that much, especially for a conference player of the year. Only scores 6 points a game. Aggies shooting 46% from the floor.
And these are the situations where Texas A&M's got to slow it down to get the ball inside to Robertson.
Here it is. Huge size advantage inside. Can't get the look. Jones off the glass. We're bumping in there.
Physical game, a lot of contact on both those plays. Jones picks it up and puts it back. Well, Tech has good length on the interior, Tom, just not the girth to withstand Robertson and Jones around the basket.
Knapp will be 0 for 7 thus far for Louisiana Tech. Gave it up.
Well, Tech's got to get the ball in the gaps into the middle of the floor against this Texas A&M zone.
Ooh, with a shot like a 3, Smith hits his first 3.
Or you could just rise up and bang a 3, Speedy, whichever.
Well, it's a 3-point game with about 3 minutes to go. First half from Aguilar. Caruso lost his footing, and then he'll get whistled for the attempted trip. And it's a second personal foul on Alex Caruso.
Well, if you're Michael White, you'd have rather had that ball in transition because his team is outstanding.
They've won 49 out of 50, and that's where they played their first round game. They were magnificent in every category. Tonight, a huge difference in those numbers, yet Darren Horn, they only trail by 3.
Well, the number that matters the most is that they're in good shape with the only one possession. Sure that they finish this half strong. Really important when you're on the road and it's a one-possession game that you keep it at a one-possession game or less, Tom. Don't want to go in down 9 or 10 because of mistakes in the last 3 minutes.
Incredible tradition here in Aggieland, and a correction to make. That last turnover, that was not a trip and a foul on Alex Caruso. They stopped play for a kick ball, so Caruso only with 1 personal foul. Louisiana Tech just 3 of 14 from deep. Turned over. Here's Alex Robinson running the break. Now to Jalen Jones. Taken back out of there by the Bulldogs. Nice move by Alex Hamilton for his 7th point of the night.
Hamilton taking advantage with the nice dribble drive to the middle of the floor against Caruso. Tech's got to keep attacking offensively. Don't settle for jump shots unless it's gone inside out.
Jones muscles his way in, but it won't go. Louisiana Tech with a chance to take the lead. Hamilton gives it up. And we get a foul on Jordan Green. It's his second. Coverage of the NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Championship Regional Semis begins Thursday on CBS and TBS at 7 Eastern. For more information on tournament game times and listings, go to ncaa.com. Syracuse will be a regional site. That was a road venue for Louisiana Tech this year. And boy, oh boy, would that have been a big win on their resume. They're in it late, lost by 2 to Jim Boeheim's team. Courtney Robertson gingerly walking to the scores table to check in. Next second ball for A&M.
For Texas A&M to finish this possession with a box out and a rebound.
Well, they got the rebound even if there wasn't a box out. Robinson getting fancy with it.
Go inside to Jalen Jones. He has to get a touch on this possession.
Instead, it's tapped away. Stolen by McCree, and he gets fouled hard by Allen. Just second on Peyton Allen. And we'll put Eric McCree at the free throw line. Well, speaking of tournament success, 5 ACC teams in the Sweet 16, including Mark Gottfried's NC State Wolfpack, tied with the 2009 Big East for most teams in the Sweet 16. In the Pac-12, 6-1 or better in the first 2 rounds for the 5th time since 1985. Another one coming for McCree.
We touched on the importance of La Tech finishing the half strong, but Texas A&M has to do the same thing. You're at home in tournament action, up a possession, and get a turnover and foul on the other end. They got to make sure they go inside on this next possession. Get Jalen Jones or Courtney Robertson a touchdown low.
7-0 run for Louisiana Tech puts them in front. McCree takes his seat. By the way, Robertson just re-entered for Texas A&M. I don't know that he's 100%. I mean, during that previous timeout, he was sitting by himself on the bench while the rest of the team was huddled. He was kind of hiding under a towel. Provides a running screen up the floor.
It's easy to see after a half of La Tech Live, Tom, how this team has been so good under Michael White. Statistically, not great in this first half, and yet they have a 1-point lead.
Shot clock winding down, and A&M doesn't get a shot off. So the shot clock is off now. Last possession for Louisiana Tech of the half. And Billy Kennedy wants a timeout.
So much of winning and losing comes down to how you handle crucial situations. The end of the half is one of those. In the last 3 minutes, La Tech winning.
Competitive player I've ever coached. Now, that's great once you're in the game. I would imagine, though, that was a challenge for Michael White coming off of the disappointment of not making the NCAA tournament.
Well, there's no question. Speedy Smith is a winner and a leader, and he's a guy that fought to be in the NCAA tournament. Fell short of that goal, so getting him back up to play was a challenge. But Michael White said once they got back on their home floor and started getting after it, this guy responded, because once the lights come on, nobody's going to give more for his team to win than that young man right there.
He said if we stop shooting around, we put boxing gloves out there. At the end of the day, Speedy Smith at 6'3", 180 would be the last man standing.
And let me tell you what, I can tell you from experience, you got a point guard like that, Tom, you're going to win a lot of games.
He's got 3 assists here in the first half, averages 7.5 on the year.
Right now, they ought to just get everybody out of his way. There's no chance Peyton Allen can keep him in front.
Looking for the high screen from McCree. Hamilton for 3. Got it! Alex Hamilton with a huge 3. A&M's got a chance to get one off. Here's Robinson with the answer.
Good execution by La Tech, but then they didn't get the basketball stop. Allowed A&M to get it up the floor too easy and get a good look. New York. All right, let's go. Aggies on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Well, here's exactly what you're talking about, Coach.
Well, you got to make sure that you know where Speedy Smith is. Yes, play with that emotion that you see from the bench, but you got to get on the glass and not just get there, but finish plays.
How many times did you drop Jiminy Christmases when you were coaching?
You know, that's a flashback channeling of one of my high school coaches, Don Atkins. Coaches have influence, Tom.
Did you see the look on Gene's face when he told he's playing like he's 50?
He was moving like he's 50 years old.
He'd like to step in the DeLorean and go back in time. Gene, the best stat guy we can find in the state of Texas, because he is. Here's Caruso now. But what a weird first half, really. We're talking about it. You look at the stat sheet, and the extra possessions, really the biggest difference right now for Tech.
Few more attempts for La Tech. Nothing stands out on the stat sheet. Jalen Jones might have heard me. Getting to the glass, that's where Texas A&M has an advantage, Tom. They've got to get to the offensive glass, and it's got to produce points for them.
That was the second foul on Speedy Smith. Here at ESPN, we always push for extra access and inside information. You can't get any better than that. By the way, you are a fantastic recruiter. I don't know about Gene or the trumpet player, but I saw at least 3 All-Americans on your roster.
You know, recruiting is the key to success in basketball.
Jalen Jones has another one coming. He transferred in from SMU. What a power he has been for Texas A&M. He had 24. To back that up, he had his third 20-point game this year against Montana in the first round. He had 25 in that one, hit 10 of 14 from the floor.
And right now, La Tech doesn't have anybody that can hold him one-on-one. They got to get him the ball on the block where he can go to work.
Speedy picked up his dribble. Shot clock at 3. He'll pull. Got it! Speedy Smith kind of fading away on that one. Still willed it in.
Well, for a guy that doesn't have good numbers on the year, he's making big shots from beyond the arc tonight. Part of that will to win that Michael White touched on earlier today.
His second 3 of the game. Louisiana Tech with a 5-point lead. Green steps through. Got it! Nice play by Jordan Green. Didn't you coach him up at the half? He's moving a lot better without a trumpet.
Get to the glass and attack the rim. That's going to be the first order of business if you're Texas A&M. Jordan Green with a nice step through. Draws the foul and playing with some emotion. Again, these first 4 minutes, so important for Texas A&M in their home building. They want to establish how they want the rest of the half to be played.
You said first 4 minutes would be the key. Green makes it a three-point play. Syracuse legend Gene Duffy's blowing up Twitterverse right now with his first ever national television appearance. Would you ever let a camera and microphones in your locker room at the half?
Absolutely. I would not have when I was coaching, but I would now.
Anybody can put on a show pregame. Any coach can make it pretty. But halftime is where the real truths come out.
Halftime is real.
Oh, my goodness, to beat the shot clock. Speedy Smith is real.
There's no question. A competitor.
Jones hangs and hits, and he's fouled.
Speedy Smith, not a great shooter from a percentage standpoint, but a big-time winner. And his team needs him on the road in NIT action, and he is shooting it from beyond the arc. His third three tonight.
This is a program defined by the Duncan Dogs of Karl Malone and Big Will Simmons back in the early 80s. Louisiana Tech, but now we might need a new nickname for him. Jones makes it a three-point play. Second half, Louisiana Tech has been on fire from behind the arc. Hamilton, little ball fake, one much of one. And a blocking foul will go against Courtney Robertson. Remember that arc has been extended by a foot for all 31 NIT games. Experimental rule in place. I asked Michael White about it today. He said, who cares? We don't even, I haven't taught charges in 3 years. I don't worry about it. Tom Izzo doesn't even practice it. Another one coming for Hamilton.
It's gone back to being in favor of the defense more often than not now. And Alex Hamilton able to get to the rim on that one after a good shot fake. You got to know personnel. 28% three shooter. Got to stay on your feet. Let him shoot it.
Bulldogs by 3. Louisiana Tech with the lead, but Texas A&M has found some success with Jalen Jones this half. Green into the paint. Had a block. Another one for Kaiser. Here come the Bulldogs the other way. All numbers in the red unis. And on the run, another blocking foul. NBA Wednesday begins at 7 Eastern with an Eastern Conference showdown as the Bulls and Raptors tip off at 7 Eastern. Then at 9:30, Russell Westbrook looks to stay hot as the Thunder take on the Spurs. It's NBA Wednesday, presented by State Farm. That was the third personal foul on Peyton Allen and puts Xavier Stapleton to the line. How about Russell Westbrook's college coach? Looks like he's back in the mission. Starkville going into the SEC. Ben Howland, rumored to have been hired by the Bulldogs.
If they can find some more guys like Russell Westbrook, it doesn't matter where he is. His team's going to be good.
That's a great point. Speaking of jobs, the carousel has just started to turn, and Michael White will be on a lot of short lists. Anthony Grant was relieved of his duties at Alabama. Oliver Purnell is out at DePaul, and Rick Ray, after just 3 years in Starkville, he went 13-19 this year, 37-60 overall. That was his first head coaching opportunity. Now, you've been through that grind. At this point, where we are in college basketball, as a young coach looking for his first chance at a major conference, you need to just come to grips with the fact that he may only get a 3-year window. And is that fair to those guys?
Well, I don't know if it's fair or not, but it's the business now. You've got 3 years, because after 3 years, if they don't see it heading in the direction that they like, sometimes the fourth year is dead man walking, or you don't even get the fourth year in Rick Ray's case.
Pedar Davis with his third team foul, fourth team foul. And look at Speedy Smith getting the Ruston contingent up on their feet here. Taking over a couple of sections in Reed Arena. You never see a road team wave into the crowd to get to their feet. It's a thick screen at midcourt on Boykins. Another steal for the Bulldogs. Boykins in front. Well, Louisiana Tech unable to convert. We've seen a lot of things tonight you don't often see, and this one in the second half takes the cake. Speedy Smith trying to get the crowd involved, and he's on the road.
Plenty like it.
Yeah, plenty of La Tech fans to find in the building tonight.
Well, one of the things you don't have as much in college basketball now is fans kind of building relationships with players, because a lot of them aren't around for 4 years. Speedy Smith has been around, and his fans appreciate him.
Robertson with 6 on the clock. Back to Caruso. Touch isn't there. That should have been a walk. That was the pivot foot that came up for Jacoby Boykins. Corner three, good. Corner office Stapleton. His first triple. 8-point La Tech lead. Timeout, Billy Kennedy. Largest deficit of the night for A&M. Who wants to dance on a Monday? Upside Darren Horn. Michael White is the head coach of Louisiana Tech. He's a hot name in the coaching circles. What's impressed you about him as a young man coaching up this team?
I think the way his team plays, Tom, they play with great confidence and great freedom, especially on the offensive end. They're giving great effort at all times. He knows who he is, and because of that, his team knows who they are and how they need to play to be successful.
A little bit easier. They haven't had to deal with Daniel House tonight. He is still out with a foot injury. He's been out for a while now. Last played March 3rd against Florida. Pre-game, he was out getting his shots up left side of the screen. They said, you know, we could maybe have him back if we make it to New York. We believe in this kid. We believe in what he could do for us. We don't want to push it.
He's a game changer. There's no question about it. I was at the Puerto Rico shootout. Texas A&M looked just okay in their first two. He got eligible, and they look significantly better with Daniel House in the lineup.
They are 1-4 with House or Jalen Jones injured and unavailable. That's a 3-game swing in the win-loss column, and that's the difference between playing in the NCAA tournament or the NIT.
You know, we said earlier, in the anatomy of an upset, you got to have your stars available to shine.
La Tech looking for an upset tonight. Up by 8, 5 minutes into the game tonight here at Texas A&M, with La Tech leading 49-41. One of the best stories in college basketball came to an end tonight as the Princeton women lost for the first time. Lost to #1 seed Maryland, 85-70. Darren, how does a team that goes undefeated end up with an 8 seed?
Resume. You can be a tournament team and maybe not have a tournament resume, or you can have an undefeated record, but they start looking at the top 50 wins, and if they're not there, that's where you get seeded. We've seen the reverse of that with the men, Tom, where maybe a team like Michigan State is probably better than their 7th seed, but their resume doesn't say it.
It's all about the resume, huh?
Well, it's just like Wichita State getting Kentucky last year. They go into the tournament undefeated like the Princeton women. Kentucky, pretty tough 8 seed to have to play against.
By the way, Ben Howland's resume has officially added a line. Mississippi State has hired the former UCLA head coach. They will introduce him tomorrow in Starkville with a press conference in the afternoon. 10 years at UCLA, 3 straight Final Fours. In the Pac-12 in 2013, but was still let go at the end of the year. And boy, oh boy, did the SEC just get a little bit tougher.
You've got a veteran coach who's got a great track record, and
he had 3 possessions without it. You saw the size 14 go flying. And then this simultaneous possession. You saw it on Monday Night Football, touchdown or pick. In basketball, it's a walk. And then Dancing with the Stars. How about this cha-cha? I think he walked twice on that move. Neither one of them got whistled. How many times you see a road player try to fire up the crowd?
Speedy Smith getting his road fans from Ruston, Louisiana going. We've seen a little bit of everything tonight, Tom.
They would love to be back at home. They're undefeated there this season. They won 49 of their last 50. They will be on the road. Both of these teams will be on the road. I should say either one of these teams, should they win tonight, will be a Temple for the right to play at New York City on Wednesday night. Be on the road against Fran Duffy's Owls. They never trailed in their win against George Washington last night. Stapleton left it a little short. Here's Speedy in to grab a board. Speedy Smith is 6'3". His career high for assists is 15. Darren, his career high for boards is 14, and that came against Florida State last year.
Aaron McCree with the strong finish. Just blew right by Alex Caruso. You got to keep moving your feet. Can't try to body up guys that are driving the basketball.
Nice little run for Louisiana Tech. Jalen Jones, offensive foul. That left arm came up, and the whistle blew. His first.
A little ticky-tack, but anytime you drop your shoulder and extend your arm, you're going to get a foul called on you. Jalen Jones does both on this play.
Now remember, that block charge circle is not in play for an initial defender, only the secondary defender. So that's not in play on that whistle. That arc has been extended by a foot, experimental rule this year in the NIT. Illegal screen the other way. Kaiser with his second. Here's the other side of the NIT. Vandy will head to Stanford tomorrow night. That should be a fun matchup. Vandy playing as hot as anybody late in the year. In CUSA, from CUSA, I should say, Old Dominion leads Illinois State by a half dozen early over on the U.
Murray State and Tulsa will be a good matchup as well. Murray State with a pro point guard, Cameron Payne.
Wow! Power jam Miller. Off the feed from Caruso.
Nice little pocket pass by Caruso, as they say in the NBA.
And now the Aggie crowd back into it. They're going to need a run late. Caruso from his backside. Taken right back by Speedy Smith. 3-on-1. Oh, he wanted the lob and it won there. Finger roll still goes.
That's the third back tip steal that we've seen from La Tech tonight. That's a result of their pressing mentality. They're always pursuing the basketball.
But they couldn't knock him off.
Well, the key for Texas A&M right now, you talk about when do you miss stars. It's not just point productions, but it's point in the game. You're down 10 in the second half. You need a guy that can get you a bucket or raise up, knock down a three. And look at what Texas A&M is missing out on right now with Daniel House on the bench with a foot injury.
First team all-conference selection. Last 7 games, he had poured in 19.5 points per game. Aggies have found success inside. Miller trying to stay with it. It'll stay with A&M.
Not only does Speedy Smith set the table and the tone for this La Tech team, he just took Jalen Jones, a much bigger Jalen Jones, out of that possession by battling him in the post and fronting him, sitting right down in his lap and not letting him get the basketball.
Shot clock reset on that possession, and I think the officials want to make sure that it did hit the rim. That was Larry Spalding checking on it, so he's good with it. And they get it back down to 6, so it didn't hit the rim. It's only 6 on the shot clock now for A&M. Robinson to the paint. Got his own miss. Here's Jalen Jones. Couldn't get through traffic without being fouled.
Speedy Smith doing a little bit of everything for La Tech, dropping dimes, but also battling the big fellas on the inside. Look at him underneath against Jalen.
And Louisiana Tech, which hasn't been to the NCAA tournament since 1991, is playing in its 3rd consecutive NIT. Last year they knocked off Georgia, lost to Florida State, that had some success in this postseason event. In fact, they've had some success on the road against major opponents. The last 2 years, they're the only team in the country with wins against the SEC, ACC, and Big 12 in true road games.
Two big reasons for that, Tom, are the fact that their style of play is a problem for people in a one-shot deal, and Speedy Smith. When you've got an outstanding point guard that controls the game on both ends of the floor, you always give yourself a chance, especially in close games.
Jones hits the second. He's got 13. Caruso ends up with it.
That's twice Texas A&M has gone zone in this game, and La Tech's literally just handed them the ball. Sometimes it's not the toughness of the defense, it's just the change in looks that those teams are.
Good job on the glass by Eric McCree.
Jalen Jones is a guy they have to get going, Tom, if you're Texas A&M. Outstanding in the first half, not quite as productive in the first half of the second period.
Raheem Appleby has struggled shooting the ball today. 0 for 8 from the floor. 0 for 5 from deep. Playing with 2 hurt fingers. Speedy again! He can do it without Appleby. He's got 14 for a guy who only averages 6. Michael White said that NBA scouts have been coming to watch Speedy Smith. They're looking for his jumper. Hope they're watching tonight for his sake.
If he shoots a basketball like that, he's got a real chance, because he does everything else you want an NBA point guard to do. He's strong with the basketball. He doesn't turn it over. He can defend multiple positions. Sure man's got a future in this game.
Allen went on the floor for it. Nothing doing. McCree. And a follow. What a job by Appleby. His first make comes off an offensive rebound.
Texas A&M's perimeter guys have to get down inside and help on the glass.
Robinson trying to take over for A&M. He's got 5 straight.
Alex Robinson is a guy who gets his pressure that can create off the dribble and get the basketball in the paint and make some stuff happen for Texas A&M. He's got to do it strong without turning it over.
McCree got fouled by Miller. It's the first on Miller. Raheem Appleby, the senior from little old Jacksonville, Arkansas, looking for some points tonight. Finally got it. He might be an Elfrid Payton lookalike. How about this? The Magic point guard and Appleby.
They both got game, and they both got great hair.
And they both played in Louisiana. Payton from Louisiana Lafayette, Gretna, Louisiana.
Played for outstanding coach Bob Baldwin.
Is this team fun to watch? Kedar Davis rocks the rim. Timeout taken by Texas A&M.
Anybody in the country of coaching to his personnel. A lot of these plays we see are not just because of the athleticism of the personnel, but the way they play and what Michael White has instilled in them, a relentless attack mentality. And you look at those numbers, and they just don't lie, Tom.
3 straight conference titles, this one outright in Conference USA. Lost in the semis to UAB. And you talk about, your key to postseason success. They wouldn't have even been in the same side of the bracket as UAB if UAB hadn't stumbled down the stretch to a couple of teams that they should have beat. Now, all of a sudden, in the semis, you have to play perhaps the second-best team in your league, and UAB proved that with their win against Iowa State in the NCAA tournament, but you have to play them on their home floor. Robertson showing his muscle.
Not a lot of margin for error when you're coming from not a major conference, Tom. That's why if you get a bad break on your draw in the tournament, it can get you. There's no question this La Tech team is a tournament team, just not with the tournament resume.
Stolen by Caruso. Aggies have whittled the lead back to single digits. Robertson power dribble stolen away. We've got a jump ball that will stay with the Aggies, and Billy Kennedy can't believe it. He's wondering how that's not a foul.
Speedy Smith has made threes. He's run his team, and he's taken on the Giants, giving up a lot of weight in that scenario. And watch the emotion. You think this guy's not a competitor?
He's had double-digit assists 10 times this year, and now you got a 1 going against a 5 inside. Appleby gets a breather. By the way, if you think you're a great player out there and you're not getting enough looks, you might be right. Louisiana Tech was the only Division I offer for Speedy Smith coming out of Boca Ciega High School in St. Petersburg, Florida. The only Division I offer. Caruso with a long 2. How Speedy Smith slipped through the cracks, I don't know. Another La Tech turnover. To Robertson, and he's fouled this time. Merle Holden with his first. Louisiana Tech, Darren Horn, walk us through your checklist now for anatomy of a turning run.
Well, first your stars have to shine. Hamilton is doing that for La Tech. You got to receive an unexpected boost. How about Speedy Smith? Only 6 points on the year, has 14 tonight. The question mark is, can they get the big stops late when they need them to survive a close game and advance in this NIT?
Well, Robertson goes to the free throw line now for Texas A&M. Had a great first half shooting the ball. It took him a while to get going in the second half. Just 41%, and that's only after a late flurry to even get it that high. Playing without Daniel House, junior from Fresno, and a University of Houston transfer. One of the top scorers in the SEC won't play tonight. He won't likely play in their next game if A&M should win, and possibly could return from his foot injury should they make it to New York City.
And you don't just miss a great player's point total. You miss what he does to impact your team. His attention that he would get from the defense spaces the floor, makes everybody else's life easier offensively for Texas A&M.
La Tech shooting 60% from the floor in the second half. Boykins. Oh my gosh, are they playing loose? Jacoby Boykins with his first 3 of the game.
So impressed with La Tech. And you used the word loose. I would say they play with freedom, great discipline, but freedom on the offensive end.
Robertson had it in his hands, just poked away by La Tech. Boykins again. Kaiser had it stripped. There's no fear for these Bulldogs to get pulled out of the game for taking a quick shot. And that's got to say something.
There's no question, and that's a result of Michael White and the coaching job that he's done. If you give me great effort defensively, I'll live with some quick shots offensively, as long as they're not selfish shots.
What a great job on the glass by Stapleton and company. La Tech started this game 1 for 12 from deep. They've hit 8 of their last 12 three-point attempts. Making 9 of 13 and another dime for Speedy. The lead is 12. And now Texas A&M getting into a danger zone here, Darren, because if they try to put the pedal down to get back in this game, they're playing into Louisiana Tech's hands when it comes to tempo.
There's no question about that. The other issue that they have is La Tech has Speedy Smith, who can control a game defensively and offensively. So you're looking at a 12-point deficit right now if you're Texas A&M, and to speed it up and get back in it, you're playing the other team's way. And Speedy Smith's going to control that thing on both ends as well. One of the luxuries of having an outstanding point guard.
Texas A&M in the bonus the rest of the way after that third personal foul on Speedy Smith. We'll see if that becomes an issue. Whoa! Alex Hamilton winning the duel at the rim. It's an 8-0 run.
That just can't happen, Tom. You can't let a guy drive all the way through your set defense to the rim and dunk on you.
He just went right down the Brazos River. There's Jalen Jones inside. He's got 15. How does the guy go right down the lane?
Well, nobody's stopping the basketball. Nobody helps when he goes to drive it. You got to send a message on that one. Make a strong play on the ball. He's either got to take the foul or miss it.
Caruso with the strip. Under 5 to go. Aggies need to string some possessions together. That won't get us started.
Speedy Smith with the tremendous split. Watch, everybody's watching him in the paint. Kicks it out for the wide open three. And then again, don't contain the dribble, Texas A&M. Gets all the way to the rim, Hamilton. You just can't let that happen, Tom. You got to have a little bit more defensive pride, especially at this point in the game.
Hamilton, the junior from Chipley, Florida, has another free throw coming his way. Alex Robinson, the freshman point guard, returns. Getting a breather for Devontae Fitzgerald. Hamilton's working on a 17-point night. Speedy's back, playing with 3 fouls. Boykins to the bench after hitting a couple of threes this half. That was a 15th foul on Texas A&M as Hamilton hits 1 of 2.
One of the areas Texas A&M has really struggled in this half. They haven't picked up easy baskets, attacking La Tech's pressure for layups, getting on the offensive glass. They've got to find a way in this last 4:41 to get some easy ones on the glass in transition and at the foul line.
Great pressure. Got a foul on Kedar Davis. What's Speedy Smith saying to him?
We don't need to foul that far from the basket. He's got a player in a dead situation. Keep pressure on, but don't foul.
It's a 4th on Davis, so you can think about that by sitting next to the coaches. Speedy Smith does everything for this Louisiana Tech team.
He's played guard. He's played big defense inside. Now he's coaching his teammates up. And what I like at the end, he's going to challenge his teammate a little bit, but he's going to pick him up at the end, let him know he can do it, and he's with him.
Second half for the bonus for Robinson. Got another one coming. Tavario Miller returns. And a big man, Robertson, takes a seat. Alex Robinson hits them both. And now some pressure from Texas A&M.
Well, the old adage, Tom, press a pressing team. Let's see if it works for Texas A&M.
Couple misses and then a follow.
Texas A&M got exactly what they wanted, but they didn't rebound the basketball. Too many chances for La Tech.
A gamble, and it pays off with the trip to the free throw line coming for Jalen Jones. It's on Kaiser, and that's his 3rd. 10th team foul, so Aggies will have a chance from the free throw line in the double bonus for the final 4 minutes. Jalen Jones, 73% from the line this year. He talked about the win against Montana in the first round, and he said it simply, we wanted to redeem ourselves. It's a team that lost their last 3 regular season games, including in the SEC tournament. 1 of 2. Gets his miss. Forced into a fadeaway. And a foul on Green on the rebound. It's his, oh, pardon me. It's McCree, and that's his second. Well, the NIT in its 78th year has some rich history. Both of these programs have played there.
Taking on Tulsa, just 13 minutes away from tip. Tom and Darren, back to you guys.
All right, Adnan, thanks. Yeah, NIT first played in 1938 when Temple knocked off Colorado for the title. CCNY won the NIT and NCAA tournament in the same season, 1949 and 50. Tom Golan won the MVP in both in 1954. And it became an NCAA property in 2005. Only recently did regular season conference champs get an automatic berth. And there have been some stars, I mean superstars, who have played in this tournament. Steve Alford was the only guy on this list that wasn't the NIT MVP. George Mikan with DePaul back in the day, Reggie Miller, Ralph Sampson, three-time player of the year. All of college basketball. What a fantastic run. What a fantastic leap. Michael Kaiser again. There, I thought he caught that at the top of the backboard.
We saw it coming, but when the pass was made, it looked like it was going to be too high. Anytime you press, you're in danger of giving up a lob over the top. Texas A&M not used to pressing like La Tech. Miller's late, doesn't stay attached. And oh my goodness, does Kaiser go up for this one. Watch how high he gets up. Literally above the square to go get that one and finish it strong.
Kaiser from Lancaster, Texas, just south of Dallas. He only had low-level Division I offers. Committed to Lamar. Then when they ran into APR issues, he was free to transfer. Speedy got hit hard in midcourt. Up to speed when you can only see out of one eye. 16 foul on Texas A&M. Goes to Jordan Green.
Speedy Smith catching a good one from Jordan Green, inadvertent. Nonetheless, a little pop to the face. One thing that's been impressive about this La Tech team, Tom, is each player knows who he is. They know their role. They don't try to do what they can't. I think that's one of the reasons you see them play so well together. Credit Michael White for that and his coaching staff as well.
Jack Kevin, the athletic director at Duke. His brother is in the business as well, both of them. Michael White grew up in an athletic family. You can call him an Army brat, though. He lived in 13 different states growing up. Now, right now, still coaching, but close to the state of euphoria. Hamilton's got 23. He's got a 15-point lead on the road. This is a Louisiana Tech team, Darren, led by Michael White, a guy with all due respect to Conference USA and Ruston, Louisiana. It probably won't be there long. I mean, he's going to be on a lot of short lists with this coaching carousel starting to spin. And you wonder what kind of attention he would get and if his phone would have already been ringing if they're playing in the NCAA tournament. He turned down Tennessee last year, and he's sure to have more offers this year.
Well, he's done an outstanding job in a short time. When you look at 100-plus wins in 4 years, you're talking about names like Brad Stevens and Thad Matta and Shaka Smart on that list. He's keeping great company, and no question, at some point, we'll be moving on.
You know, at some point as a coach, you just kind of throw your hands up and say, let Speedy take it. That's great coaching.
Well, we touched on that a few minutes ago, right? Speedy Smith's going to control this game offensively. So now that the clock is an issue for Texas A&M.
And watch ESPN. For more, visit NCAA.com, the home for all 89 NCAA championships. Well, the question coming in for Michael White was, who wants to prolong their season? It certainly looks like the Bulldogs wanted that from the get-go tonight.
And the biggest difference, Tom, is that Texas A&M didn't do the things coming out of halftime that they needed to do, taking care of the basketball, getting to the glass, and containing Speedy Smith.
Alex Robinson has a career-high 16 with that last bucket. This matchup could have gone either way, with A&M's size and defensive ability versus Louisiana Tech's urge to push the tempo. And without Daniel House, there's not enough offensive opportunities for A&M. Kaiser with the follow.
Well, it doesn't look like Texas A&M will pull this one out. Don't feel sorry for these guys. A lot of players back. Only going to lose Robertson on the interior in one of the top recruiting classes in college basketball.
90 seconds to go in this one. La Tech has put 80 on the board. A&M only gives up 62 a game. Rick Stansberry now an assistant to Billy Kennedy. This is pretty good. You're behind only Kentucky and Arizona, according to ESPN Recruiting Nation, for next season with 4 commits already.
And the key at this level, Tom, is you've got to have 2 or 3 guys that can flat out go, that you know you can count on for about 30-plus points a night. They've already got that in Jalen Jones and Daniel House. They're all returning. Alex Caruso is back, and now you have an outstanding recruiting class. We've seen good play from Alex Robinson early tonight. The future is bright for Billy Kennedy in this Texas A&M program.
And there's a lot of upside in the SEC. I mean, outside of Kentucky, there's a lot of room for teams to make runs. Probably one big reason Ben Howland was so tempted by Mississippi State.
Well, there's no question about it. You're talking about a league that got 5 teams in the tournament this year. Texas A&M was a close 6, and that includes Florida not being in the mix, and they're perennial power in the SEC.
Yet of all of that, only Kentucky moved on to the second weekend. Conference USA, a 1-bid league. 3 into the NIT, Louisiana Tech, UTEP, and Old Dominion. Robinson's got another free throw. How about Speedy? Just coaching guys up. And that is a senior leader.
An outstanding teammate, settling his guys down. We got this. It's all right, young fella. I'll tell you the first thing Michael White better do if he does take another job, find him a Speedy Smith.
How do you do that?
Makes you a lot better coach.
Speedy Smith entered the year as a Bob Cousy Award candidate for the best point guard in college basketball. More people can see this team and this guy play. You really see his value.
That's the first mistake I've seen him make all night, picking up the ball in the corner against the trap, which you don't ever want to do.
Who you taking in a shuttle run? Speedy Smith have been in the past, especially last season. So Temple trying to make it to at least the semis in the NIT for the 5th time in school history. They'll have to get past Louisiana Tech. Unless something crazy happens over the last minute 16, and we've seen a lot of crazy tonight, so I wouldn't be surprised. Louisiana Tech held a 1-point lead at the half. Michael White's team has outscored A&M by 13 since the 17-32 mark. Speedy, no look, with 3 on the shot clock. How much of that is time spent on the floor together?
I think that's part of it, mostly from the standpoint, Tom, that if you're playing with Speedy Smith, it doesn't take you long to figure out. I just got to make myself available, and he will find me.
W. Smith told me a great story about Rajon Rondo years ago when he was coaching at Kentucky. Rondo was complaining that every time he put the ball in the hands of his teammates, they would drop it. And Tubby said simply, that means your passes aren't good enough. Make your passes better. But, coach, they keep dropping them. Not if the pass was better. Sometimes it has to be perfect.
And the best do exactly what Speedy Smith and Rajon Rondo do. They get it to them right on time in a place they can do something with it.
Jordan Green with 13. Texas A&M uses the timeout.
Bracket all in the mix for an NCAA tournament on the bubble. You've got quality basketball teams and an outstanding NIT field.
Fitting that the ball's in the hands of Speedy Smith here. Last possession likely for La Tech. Come on, Speedy. A&M comes out with it. Caruso to the corner. Alex Robinson's got a career-high 21. The La Tech comes on the road to end the season of Texas A&M. The Bulldogs of Conference USA were the regular season champs. And now for the second time in as many years, they've beaten an SEC team on the road in the postseason. So here's what the bracket looks like Wednesday on ESPN2. Temple and